Hello everyone and welcome to our third lesson, personal pronouns. Just like in English, personal pronouns in German are used to substitute nouns once they have already been mentioned. Let's start with the first case, which is the nominative case. In the nominative case, the pronouns are the subject of the sentence. Let's start with the singular form in the first and second person. In the first person, we have the word ich, which is equivalent to I. In the second person, we have the word du, which means you. If you want to address someone in a formal way, in German we also have the word sie, which means you. Ich, du, sie. Now let's have a look at the third person. In the third person we have the word er, which means he, sie, which is equivalent to she, and es, which means it. Er, sie, es. Now let's continue in the plural form in the first, second, and third person. In the first person we have the word wir, which is equivalent to we. In the second person we have the word ihr, which means you. Also here in the second person plural we have the formal form of you, which is sie as well. And in the third person plural we have the word sie, which means they. Maybe you already noticed that the word sie is used for both she and they. Therefore, you have to figure out the difference from the context. And also the formal form of you in the singular and plural form, sie, is always capitalized. Wir, ihr, sie. Now we will continue with German nouns and gender and also with the definite and indefinite articles. First of all, I want to mention that German is the only language that capitalizes all nouns. And the second thing is, the most important thing for English speakers to understand about German nouns is the matter of gender. You will see that German nouns have different genders. Let's have a look at the definite articles in the nominative case. As I already mentioned, in German we have 3 different genders, der, die, and das, which is equivalent to the English the. I want to start with the first gender, which is the masculine form, der. Here we have the example of the noun Mann, der Mann, which is equivalent to the man. We just learned about the personal pronouns. The personal pronouns of der Mann is er, which can be translated as he. Now let's have a look at der, die, das in the feminine form. Here we have the example of die Frau, which is equivalent to the woman. Also here we have the personal pronouns sie, which means she. In the last case we have the gender das, which is the neuter form. In this case we have the example of das Mädchen, which means the girl. Sometimes gender is natural, as you just saw in the previous cases. Der Mann, which means the man, is masculine, and die Frau, which means the woman, is feminine. But this is not always the case. Here you can see das Mädchen, which actually means the girl, is neuter. So to sum up, there is no specific rule about the gender. The most important thing is that you have to learn all the nouns with their gender. Let's continue with das Mädchen. We already learned the personal pronouns for that. In the neuter form, we say es, which means it. Now let's have a look at der, die, das in the case of the plural form. In the plural form, we have die Männer, which means man, die Frauen, which means women, and die Mädchen, which means girls. Here you can see that the gender for the plural form is always die. The personal pronouns for that is sie, which means they. Now let's have a closer look how the noun is changing from the singular form to the plural form. Let's start with the singular form of the word der Mann, which means the man. In the plural form, der Mann is changing to die Männer, which means man. In the second case, we have the word die Frau, which means the woman. In the case of die Frau, in the plural form, it changes to die Frauen, which means women. Der Mann, die Männer, die Frau, die Frauen. In the last case, we have the example of the word das Mädchen, which means the girl. In the plural form, we also have die Mädchen, which means girls. As you can see, in the case of Mädchen, there is no changes at all. Das Mädchen, die Mädchen. Now let's continue with the indefinite articles, ein and eine, which means a or an. First, let's have a look at the nominative case in the masculine form. Here we will use the same noun like before, ein Mann, which means a man. Ein basically means one, and like the definite article, it indicates the gender of the noun it goes with. So ein Mann means a man. In the case of the feminine form, we have the example of eine Frau, which means a woman. And in the last case, in the neuter case, we have the example of ein Mädchen, which means a girl. To sum up what we just learned about the indefinite articles, we can say that for the feminine form, only eine can be used, and for the masculine and neuter form, only ein is correct. This was our third lesson and also our last basic grammar lesson. I will see you in the next lesson where we will learn about basic phrases and vocabularies such as greetings and other expressions.